There have been quite a few defining moments in FPV. Angela and I talk about them and what the implications of those defining moments were. And, she's been around FPV for a long time, so she's seen a lot of the defining moments. I hope that you enjoy this one. Bye. One of the things you mentioned throughout all that is that you did, in fact, help organize the Mexico Drone Nationals. Tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about that. Like, that was, what year was that? I think you told me that led into the Hawaii Drone Nash or Drone World. What is it? Drone World Nash something?
Drone worlds.
Drone
Yeah.
World. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a little late here. I'm not thinking quickly.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
So,
It's okay.
you started or helped start the Mexico Drone Nationals. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
So we went to the U.S. Tour Nationals 2015 and fell in love with the whole racing scene and saw the potential of it. So as much as things didn't pan out the way they should for the organization, I can't remember the name that it had back then, but it was later DSA,
Mm-hmm.
led by Scott Resland. What I gotta give them is that they managed to pull a great first event, international event, and it inspired us, many of us, to do, our own thing in our countries. So even though we were already running races and everything, it made us want to be a part of the international community. And you had to qualify for Drone Worlds by having a qualifier in your country. So we reached out to Scott. Actually, I remember that he didn't even let us pay for our registration in 2015. He was like, no, 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 no. You guys are coming all the way from Mexico. I don't care about you guys paying registration. Just make it. Just make it down here.
Mm-hmm.
And that inspired us to have Mexico Drone Nationals. Back then, everyone was calling it, Spain Drone Nationals and Italian Drone Nationals and whatever. So we were all calling it according to our country. And it was the qualifier to make it to Drone Worlds. And we had qualifiers for racing, for freestyle, and for wing.
Mm-hmm.
And those were all categories that Drone Worlds was gonna have. And it was chaotic. It was horrible. Like, we were still doing the whole transponder thing,
Oh,
and it was bad.
yeah.
Like, but by the end, we were doing it by hand,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously mistakes were made, and I mean, it was just crazy. Like, it was insane, and so many lessons were learned, and pilots weren't still like in the level of professional racing. Like, they didn't know how to change channels. They didn't
Right.
know about like power with their
I mean,
VTXs and
everything was
the
dip switches back then, right?
oh yeah, everything was so new, like
Yeah.
absolutely so new. And it rained because we had it for 2 days, and it rained a lot. So by the end, like, our timing system was just destroyed. It was bad. And a lot of pilots got there, they were like, I don't know what a transponder is. Like, do I really have to buy one? Do I really have to rent one? Like, it was just crazy. It was chaotic. But it set the standards for a lot of things. Like, okay, this is definitely what we're not going to do anymore. This is definitely what we are going to do. And then I remember also we had like a really bad race director. He was like, guys, it's time to race. It's like, no, you gotta yell at the pilots. Like, you gotta Chris Thomas it up. Like,
Right. Yeah.
there's no other
Someone
way.
get this man a microphone.
Yep, yep. He had the whole
Yeah.
like the whole thing. What's it called?
The
The
bullhorn.
megaphone?
The
The
bullhorn.
bullhorn. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. So we had to switch race directors like in the middle of the race, and our friend who's part of FP Racing Mexico, Federico, had to step up, and we were like, hell yeah, you are the right man for this.
Right.
And it was a pretty interesting race. And then after that, we all went to Drone Worlds, and it was just crazy. Like, I don't even know what to say
So
about Drone Worlds.
tell me, okay, that's really where I wanted this to go. I have heard that Drone Worlds was just a disaster. Um, I've heard so many things about it. Tell me what your experience at Drone Worlds was like.
I had a lot of fun because, I mean, you're in Hawaii, so
Which
why
is
not have
beautiful.
fun? Which is absolutely beautiful. And I think there were a lot of there were a lot of things that were definitely not polished.
Mm-hmm.
This is all my opinion. Like maybe somebody else thinks something else, but my experience was very positive in the sense that when I got there, I my first thing was, okay, I'm not here to race. I'm not here to compete. I'm not a pilot. I'm not even a team manager. All I'm doing here is trying to help out my pilots, you know? So if they need batteries charged, then I'll charge them. Because, for example, there was like the charging area, which was really, really far away, and then where
Right.
pilots were, which was really, really far away. So you had to be running back and forth. So what I personally decided was, okay, so it seems chaotic, it seems like a mess. It shouldn't be. It should be a little bit more polished. But why make things worse, right? So I'm already here. We are already here. We already spent a ton of money. Let's just make it as fun as possible. So all I did the entire time was, pilots, what do you need from me? Organizers, what do you need from me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need me to be a judge? Do you need me to keep score? Do you need me to help with timing system? Like, what do you need me to do? Because
Mm-hmm.
we're already here. So I'm not going to be that guy that we all will remember as the guy that was yelling the entire time. I'm not going to be that guy. And by the way, I've never seen that guy after. Maybe he is around. I don't know his name. I've never
Mm-hmm.
met him. But he was physically yelling like 5 meters away from me. And that's all he did. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you have the energy to yell for like 3 days in a row, nonstop to everyone and insult everyone and everything? Because, yeah, it was a mess. And there were a lot of things that should have been different and a lot of things that should have been more thought out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but also, I think there was a lot of naive decisions that were made. And I will still have fond memories of it. I still flew all over Hawaii. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. But I think that it would have been way better if pilots were more prepared. And I remember, because pilots and organizers, there was a dad, and I don't know whose dad he was, but he said something about, okay, it's great that we're telling the organizers what's being done wrong, but it's also good to look into what we're doing wrong as pilots. Like there were pilots that were, I literally heard pilots saying, I'm in 200, I'm in 800. I don't have bad video, but I'm going to say that I have bad video. No, I don't know how to change channels. Pilots that were being chased because they were not there when they had to be. Like there were a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that pilots did wrong. And that's something that was never discussed. Nobody ever mentioned this. Nobody ever
Mm-hmm.
complained about the pilots doing anything except this one dad that was like, we also got to be objective. It's great that you're all in the train, that we got to hate on Scott and that
Mm-hmm.
DSA has to die and that horrible things are happening. But also, what's your responsibility as a pilot? Like, you shouldn't be lying about bad video. You shouldn't be lying about your
Yeah.
power. You shouldn't be lying about any of these things. And you should be on time where you have to be,
Mm-hmm.
period. So there were a lot of delays that were caused by rain, and that was obviously not very well thought out, though it was there during that time that the entire race was happening. But also there were a lot of delays because pilots were not there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not enforcing things like, you're not here, so sorry. They were trying to play nice. So a lot of the times they were actually waiting on people. But the one thing, well, the two things that went great, because I think they flew like 3 batteries, 2 batteries, like the racing pilots.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
But what went great was the freestyle competition, which was basically organized by the pilots.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty amazing. And Zoe
Mm-hmm.
has had so much to do with that. And the wing competition. Oh my God, the wing competition was just brutal. I mean, God, I love the wing guys. They did such a great job. They gave such a great show. Everything ran smoothly. They did what they had to do. They got there first thing in the morning. Like everything was just perfection. I think just the entire competition got a little greedy. Like too soon. Too soon they wanted to have a huge event. And the industry wasn't there, the pilots weren't there, and definitely the organizers weren't there. So I think it was just a really bad combination of all the things.
I mean, just what you're describing, it just sounds like it's almost a maturity level of the industry at that time. Like there just was not the race etiquette that you see today, right? There wasn't I mean, like I can't even imagine. I mean, there was famously there was, or infamously, I guess I should say, there was Chris Thomas with the hammer incident, right? That was like, you're going to be on the right channel or I'm going to beat the hell out of your quad.
Oh
And,
yeah.
for whatever whether or not you agree with his decision or not, and I know people that were there, I mean, it's whatever. Like, that kind of informed the general populace that, oh yeah, frequency management and power management is super important. And but
Yeah.
that was what, a year or two after Drone Worlds. I think
Oh yeah.
that was 2017.
Yeah, that was 2017, I think.
So I just,
The
yeah,
whole
it's just,
Hammergate thing.
yeah, the hammer. God, what it just, I mean, you know,
I
this.
don't understand how people spend so much time on social media. Like, because I remember my opinion on that was this. Like, I saw the whole thing and I was just like, okay. So personally, I wouldn't have done it. Like, I
Hmm.
don't think I would have been able to do it. I like, whoa, no, I can't imagine smashing a quad. Um, from what I understand, the pilot was told and agreed upon and everything. Like, they discussed this prior. Like, it wasn't just, give me your quad, I'm gonna smash it.
Right.
And then he just did it, you know? And I
Yeah.
understand Chris Thomas's frustration because he's not managing 50 pilots, he's managing 200 pilots.
Right.
And it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I mean, the amount of stress that's put on your shoulders when you're organizing, it's crazy. And you have to do a lot of things. Like, also, it's not like people are like, I want to volunteer. And it's
Right.
not like money is just coming in and you're employing people, you know? So it's such a weird situation because you have to have so much commitment from your staff without getting paid or without getting paid what they should be getting paid
Hmm.
for because it's such specialized knowledge that comes with a lot of physical stress and it's long hours and everything.
Hmm.
So that was my opinion. Like, it took me 30 seconds to say, hey, I wouldn't have done that, but I understand why he did it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, whoa. And then I remember discussing it with a few organizers, like multi GP chapter organizers,
Hmm.
that were like, F multi GP, I'm never going to be with them again. And I was like, yeah, like, I totally understand your frustration. But what about the 99 other things that they've done? Like, all the great things that they've done, all the effort and all the money and all the time. Like, you're just going to throw it all away because, you know, that happened in the heat of the moment and the pilot is not even complaining like everybody else is. And
Hmm.
something that I think a lot of people forget is that you don't have to have an opinion on everything. There are subjects, there are topics that you can actually say, you know what? I don't have enough information about that.
Yep.
I don't, or this is my opinion, this is my personal experience. This definitely does not apply to everything, and the world is not black or white. So I don't know. Like, I think that was a tough decision. Again, I would have not done that, but it
You
it
know,
it
for
set the record straight.
it did. I mean, for as explosive as it was at the time, and I remember I had just, throughout my whole drone experience, throughout FPV, I've had these moments where I've just pulled away from the social aspect of it. And even while I've been doing these interviews, I've had moments where I'm just like, you know what, for my own mental health, I'm going to pull away from the drama that I'm seeing. And I had just come off of one of those hiatuses where I didn't have Facebook installed on anything. I didn't check it for months. And then I get back on and I go into a couple of the forums and a couple of the groups, and that's all everybody's talking about. And, at the time, like, everybody was just so horrified and so shocked and just, oh my God, how could you do that? But you don't see people screwing around with their channels anymore. They get it right. They have the same frequencies. As a matter of fact, you see people standardizing on what transmitters you can have. So even for, my opinion, which is my opinion, is that that one day we're all going to look back and realize that was a defining moment in FPV racing. And it was a good moment, and it got blown way out of proportion from what it actually
Yeah.
was. So
But that usually happens. I
yeah.
think humans in general, it's not the FPV community, it's not the drone industry.
Hmm.
It's humans in general. They gravitate towards drama. And I remember, like, when the whole Rotor Riot thing started happening, like, at first, when it was like a constant complaint about the group, like, it was just it was not a good group, like it was just horrible, whatever, like whatever point of view you had about it, and
Right.
people were complaining about it. And I was just thinking, well, why don't you go to the Mini Quad Club?
Right.
The Mini Quad Club has been around for
It's
so
great.
long. There's never drama. Everyone's just sharing. Everyone's just helpful. Like for me, the Mini Quad Club is just home. Like I love everything that's been, built upon it. There's no drama. So why are you guys just going to that group? Like that group
Yes.
exists. Like if you don't like what's happening here, just pack your stuff, go to that group and contribute to that one. But oh no. Oh no. We
I
gotta
know.
have opinions.
Yeah. Well, and
We
then
gotta
but
have
then
opinions.
everybody gets upset because Rotor Riot is, whatever they were at the time. And then Rotor Riot is like, we're going to clean up our act. And everybody gets pissed off that they clean up their act.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so then they start, band hammering people. And eventually you have some of the troll groups form, which they know who they are. And Vec, what was it? I can't remember. And and you end up with people. It's just people aren't satisfied. They're just not satisfied.
Yeah.
It's never. It always boggles my mind.
It happens. With the whole Rotor Riot thing, I just got bored like so quick because I was never a fan and I never hated them. Like I don't care.
Right.
Like I mean, if Rotor Riot does great, then great. If they fail, I've never. I even remember the time when Chad Noah was like, Angela, like this page. It's something new that we're creating. It's called Rotor
Mm-hmm.
Riot, and he had like 6 likes, and I was like, okay, Rotor Riot sounds like fun. But then I never got into the whole thing. Like I don't know. And it's nothing against anyone that was there. Like I absolutely loved everyone that started it.
Mm-hmm.
I've personally met Sharpoo. We flew together here in Mexico. Um, did he who was it? Oh no, it wasn't him. I was trying to remember if he burned my finger with a soldering iron, but it wasn't him. He was right next to me at nationals, but I don't know. I get bored really easily. Like sometimes I was
Mm-hmm.
like, ooh, drama, let's read. And then I'm like, ah, this is so
Yeah.
boring. I can't do
Yeah.
this. Like, ugh, no. So I don't know. I don't know. Just the Mini Quack Club. Just go to the Mini Quack Club.
So you know what?
this is this is not a paid promotion for Mini Quack Club.
Yes. No. You know what? I love the Mini Quad Club. I love MQC. Actually, I mean, I fly. This is my frame. It's the Fusion.
Is it the Fusion?
This is
Yeah.
the Fusion. Yeah. I've got two of them sitting on my desk and one of their MQC ones. And
Nice.
for the old school people that used to fly H style. Um, God, I love those guys. Nick Miller and
Yeah.
God, what's the new guy's name?
I
Antonovich,
don't
I
know who
think.
the I don't know who the
He and
new
Nick are
guy is.
partners now. Anyways, yeah. Rob, the guy I mentioned earlier, Rob Garland, he's one of their team
Oh yeah.
pilots, and um,
One of my favorite pilots and people that, funny enough, I've never met in person.
mhm.
It's Sean, and he's a
Oh,
mini
he's
quad.
awesome. Sean
Right?
Krantz.
Yes, yes,
God,
yes.
he
I love
flies.
Sean.
I mean, dude, every time he posts something, I, I'm just like, I mean,
Yep,
it's unbelievable.
yep.
Um,
He's such an unknown gem because like, it's very funny that one of the hashtags that he always uses is "life is good."
mhm.
And you can tell that that's his mantra. Like life is freaking good. He flies wings. He flies mini quads. He flies everything that he can get his hands on, and such epic places. And I just watched some of his videos like on a
Mhm.
loop. I mean, he knows I love him. Like he knows, but we've never
Yeah,
met, unfortunately. Someday I'll go to
someday.
Colorado.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Oh hell yeah.
I mean, and you want to talk about beautiful places to fly. I mean, God, he's got that one lake that he flies out all the time
Oh yeah.
where I literally could watch him fly that thing 50 times. It's always
Yep.
different. It's amazing. So, well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on. This has been a blast.
Thank you.
How can people get in touch with you? How can they, find out more about you or the things that you do?
You can find me on social media usually as little a FPV. And on Facebook, I have a page that I just recently opened that's called Little A Flies.
Okay.
And yeah, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, everything, it's Little A FPV. And for everything regarding drone racing in Mexico, it's FP Racing Mexico, like this one right there. And yeah, that's what we're doing. And if you want to see any of my drone stuff that's not FPV racing related, Think Air is my company. You can also find us on social media. So
and
yeah.
By the way, all those links will be in the description below for every video. So
cool beans.
Yes. All right. Well,
Nice.
Thank you, Angela, for coming on. This has been great.
This was a great conversation. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have been on the Michael Rollins Show, because we can't quite frankly find a better name. And with Angela Jacques, Little AFPV. And thank you for showing up. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. And that's it for Angela. I really, really appreciate the conversation that I got to have with Angela. I appreciate her coming on the show. She is the second international pilot and she's the second international pilot and second race organizer that we've had on the show. And really, honestly, it was a delightful conversation. And we went on to talk for a while after the interview, which always happens, but it was just fun. And, with all the drama that's been going on recently in FPV and with my channel, it's nice just to have a break and just have a good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope that it was awesome for you. You got 4 episodes out of this one. I tried to keep them a little bit smaller, a little bit more manageable. Let me know if you like that format. Subscribe, do all this stuff down below. And also, if you're interested, if you like what I do, you can check out my Patreon. It's down below. Patrons get a podcast version of the interview. Don't feel obligated, but if you like what I do, if you love this thing, then I'd appreciate your support. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.